Oh my God, this party just does not stop. I have yanked the host hat off of my dear Aliza here because we're going
Yes.
to meet some of the rest of the Improvised Generation cast that you maybe, if you were with us earlier, you saw some of the show. We've got more of the folks here, and Aliza is in the cast as the incredible Captain Thompson. So I want to get around the room. Everybody, zoom around the room. Tell me a name, preferably yours, and your character's name and role. Because you know, this is Star Trek. If you say that role name title, then we'll instantly know what you do apart from what, and then, like a bit about the character. Just a log, the sketch of the character. What's up?
Great. I can go. My name is Sara Mountjoy-Pepka. Hi, Larry.
Hey.
I just saw you.
I know. But it's good to have you out on this side of the wall.
It is. I've been on the producing side of all this, and it's nice to be broadcasting right now. So I play Chief of Engineering, Lieutenant Janie Boots. And Janie Boots is a chaotic woman who obeys her own rules and has a perfectionist according to her own taste. She likes to be continuously improving the ship, even though she does not always get permission for it.
I think that's a very astute description.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, I'm also co-director of the show with Aliza and with Paul.
Yes. Go, Matt.
I'll go next just because I'm married to Janie's character on the show. I am Lieutenant Frost Clan. Yeah. Lieutenant Frost Clan. I'm head of security. I'm half human, half Bajoran. He's got a little chip on his shoulder. We don't know if there's any connection to the Maquis. Maybe not. Who knows? Kind of discovering those things. He likes to get in on the action. Loves his wife, and yeah.
He's often leaving his wife though, just going off on adventures, and it does not make his wife happy.
In Star Trek, how bad? And we should clarify for everybody before we talk about the show at large. We're kind of perpetually in the next gen era, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We're kind of playing a TV sitcom where the kids are always the same age, kind of a thing here.
That's right.
There's a little bit of progression. There's obviously arcs are advancing, but that's the era. Yeah.
Well, we've been doing this for 5 years, right? So it's like
it's 6
there's gonna be
seasons in 5 years.
It's still 2369 or it's still 2370 or something or whatever.
Well, if we're talking about security, let's go ahead and stay in security.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next. My name is Hector, and I play a character named Lieutenant Herg with 3 U's. The fun thing is I'm not at all part human. My character is a Cation, which in case anybody's watching and doesn't know what that is a feline humanoid character.
Mm-hmm.
There was an animated Cation in Star Trek, the animated series way back in the early 70s. Mres was the character's name. And I'm bringing the Cations back. We get a new Cation in the new show, Star Trek Lower Decks. They have an animated Cation doctor, which is super fun. So I'm a cat.
I think Dr. Tana, I think they copied you, Hector. Yeah, I think they just.
Yeah, totally, absolutely, yeah. So my character is in security and is new to the ship, and it's been a blast getting to play with everybody because everybody's so brilliant and so funny and so nice. So yeah, I'm honored.
I'm excited to play with you, Hector. We have yet to play with each other. We got to do some security scenes.
You gotta do a security.
Clink. Yeah.
Well, speaking of people getting injured from security, if someone gets injured, they can come and see me, Nurse Mara Culverson. So I'm Laurie Jones, and I play Mara, who is a half Klingon, half human nurse. So she very passionately takes care of you. Yes, sometimes angrily, insisting on your care.
I almost didn't recognize you without the bumps, but I knew it was you.
I think you need to tell the folks at home where Nurse Culverson grew up, what her lifestyle was.
Yeah, so I mean, she grew up in South Carolina, and it was really tough, as a Klingon in South Carolina. So, and I may or may not have done that because I just cannot get rid of my accent, but we'll never know. I won't tell you. It could be motivated by something else.
First Klingon to go through cotillion, I think is the best way to put it.
Exactly.
Have we done that? Have we ever improvised that flashback scene?
No,
I don't think so. But maybe there's time.
We gotta. And I am.
I was
Aliza
going to
Pearl.
say,
I
speaking of
play-
that, Captain, you should order that sometime. Do that.
Yes,
scene.
I think I'm gonna order that holodeck scene as a
Uh-huh.
flashback. I'm Captain Georgia Thompson. I'm human, fully human, but I was raised for the first 7 years of my life on Hawaii, the Hawaiian Islands, on Earth, and then the from ages 7 to 14 on Konosh. Because my parents are Klingon, they're Starfleet Federation ambassadors to the Klingon Empire. And so I have a lot of both Hawaiian and Klingon influence, if you can imagine that in a person.
That's a whiplash.
Captain Georgia Thompson.
Yeah.
She's really
Yeah, a
good with
little
the batleth. Really good with Dan
really good
Curry's
with the
batleth.
batleth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Aloha. Kapla.
Also can hula, can make you a mean Mai Tai, can probably surf. I don't think we've explored any of this stuff except the batleth, but maybe
You should have.
future episodes.
If we ever do this again, you should host as Captain Thompson and then whip up Mai Tais for everybody.
Yes.
Right through the
Yes.
screen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I
I-
like this idea.
I want to see a flashback episode. I don't know if Captain Thompson and Nurse Culverson are around the same age or not, but I want to see a flashback episode where Culverson's class goes on a trip to Hawaii and it's both of you young.
I would love that. I would love to do that episode.
Oh
You
my
need to-
goodness.
You need to do a flashback season. Just have the whole season be flashbacks of
We could
everybody.
do the Rascals episode of TNG. We're all kids.
You know,
Oh my
so much of this
God.
run this fall is about experimenting. That's one of our goals doing this. So
Mhm.
I think, in previous years we
Good
would
timing.
go, that's not in genre. Because but we are trying to do some experimentation because the pandemic has made us all adapt and experiment. So this is entirely on the radar of
And in a-
Or
I'm
strange
ready.
new Zoom calls.
And in a good way, I would think, if anything else, Lower Decks has opened up also what's within the realm of, the vibe and tone that you can get away with and use to explore. I mean, you haven't.
Totally.
Where
It's-
so?
It's
go ahead.
true, though we are, we've said from the beginning that we aim to not be a parody. We aim to start out the show as realistically and authentically as possible. And then what happens in improv is things go wrong. And so we often don't end that way, but we have had shows that have felt, completely dead serious, like a good TNG episode. So although Lower Decks has cracked open its thing, I do still think a huge part of our goal is to stick to the genre and deliver it.
Right.
But if anybody legal is listening, we are a parody. We're definitely a
Yes.
parody.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
I was just going to say, Lower Decks has its serious streak too that's embedded in
Yeah.
the comedy too. But
Yeah,
I just meant that as a
yeah.
liberating effect on what
Mhm.
you all.
Yeah, totally.
Yes.
And we also, like, the improvised generation is called the improvised generation for a reason. It's not
Mhm.
just improvised Star Trek, it's improvised TNG style Star
Right.
Trek.
Mhm.
So that's why, like, when Sarah says we tried to like stay in that box for a long time and now we're breaking it open, it was because we were like, we're not doing TOS, we're not doing improvised Enterprise, improvised Voyager, we're doing TNG, which is a crazy specific niche,
Mhm.
but that's what we chose to do our show as.
And you do it very well. So so I still think we've got a lot of folks who are watching now who have no exposure to the improvised generation. And my first reaction 5 years ago was, okay, it's improv, but you've got running characters and you have a canon of your own background. So how does that square? And I mean, I can tell it now, but why don't you jump in? For those who are trying to figure out because I thought improv was a bunch of people and you threw out a word and then you all invented something. And how do how does that work?
Laurie or Matt, you two want to answer that? You've been around since the beginning.
I have spoken up. I would love for Laurie to talk.
I'm happy to answer this question. Yeah, this was so fun because yes, we had a starting point, but it was just a starting point. And so we knew the backgrounds of our characters to an extent. But once we get on the stage, once we started episode 1, everything was open. So if something was said, that became our canon, but it became canon in an improvised way. So we were endowed. We use the word endow in improv, which is like you're given a gift of like this. Here you go. Now you're a great roller skater, and maybe Matt didn't plan for that to happen, but now he is. So he has to say yes to that, and now that's a part of his character. And so I would say half of our character backgrounds Like we had something to start with. I knew I was a Klingon from South Carolina when I became that character. But, you know, outside of that, it's like, you don't know how things are going to evolve. I didn't know that I was going to be in relationships with both people in blue. I mean, I didn't know that. That just happened. And so I think like then the things that happened organically through improv were the more exciting things. So the things that we had never thought of. Mm-hmm. And that's why like that collaborative sort of creation is so awesome and so beautiful, because you really are doing it together and you cannot control what someone's going to tell you. It was your background and you may not have wanted that. And that is so exciting because you just have to say yes and make it a full, like well-rounded, grounded character.
Yeah.
I have a perfect example of that. I came up with the backstory for my character, and we just did a rehearsal, and someone endowed me, our friend Lisette endowed me with, Herg is a huge fan of Elvis Presley. And I went, all right, great. I guess that's my backstory now. Is my character is a huge fan of Earth musician Elvis Presley. Great.
Because Caitians are open to that kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess, yeah.
Well, it's improv. It's exciting. I'm just amazed to tackle the challenge of bringing in a live improv show, which has its own challenges and rewards, into the virtual box. And again, the new season is starting the 10th. Guys, I have some other people yelling at me from across the room that I have to go, and I'm going to drag Aliza out of here with me.
Oh, I also want to give a quick shout out to Arlo Sanders, who is a part of our cast. And you can not see him today on this.
He is here, though.
He is here. He is our tech god today. He's running this whole...
He's our sanity check.
This whole event.
Yes.
So thank you, Arlo. And we're so excited to meet your character, Ensign O'Reilly, once we start our show on the 10th.
Because go.
Can I do a quick shout out as well? I just want to thank Huge Improv Theater in Minneapolis. When I was young and up and coming improviser, they did this show, or not this one, a show that was Star Trek, and it really inspired me. And I learned a lot from Hannah Kuhlman, who is my director, that had the same sensibilities of bringing the real Star Trek to the improv stage. And then moving here and working with Sarah and Aliza and Paul Hungerford to create the show, I just love that about Star Trek. I feel like it's continually inspiring people to do greater work and be better people. And I just have to give my thanks out to the people that helped me to find this awesome fiction for us to live in.
Yeah. And
hopefully some of it will be a reality someday.
Well said. Well said. Well, you guys don't run off. Go over to the bar, have a few more. And I'm being called right now. So it's so awesome to see you guys. We're so excited for the October 10th, the resumed 6th season, the virtual season of the Improvised Generation.
Thank you.
Here's to the McGinley. Thank you.